Hello everyone, welcome back to NAS TalkShow, and today I'm going to talk about the disk volumes, the static volume, the thick volume and the thin volume. And to better understand these volumes, we divide it in two steps where we can see the distinct features of the three different volumes and to decide which volume to use and which volume would be the better option for us to choose. So, when we are going to volume creation wizard, we have the option to choose the three different volumes that we have here, the static volume, the thick volume and the thin volume. But what are the differences of these three different volumes? I will explain shortly. Before I go there, I want to mention the snapshot, because snapshot is very important for saving and securing your data from accidental deletion or from ransomware, it also supports some of the volumes. For example, the multiple volumes, which are thick volume and thin volume here. But in static volume, snapshot is not supported. And also it has explained the space allocation. For example, the space allocation is not used in the static volume, but in multiple pre-allocated and multiple on-demand on thick and thin volumes. So to understand better the volumes here, we have here the base of the RAID, which are the hard disk and the SSD. At the first layer, we are going to see the structure, followed by the storage pool, and after the storage pool, we have the opportunity to choose the volume that we decide to have after that, which we can choose the multiple volumes. First is the thick volume, the general one and mostly recommended one, and we have the thin volume, which is the most flexible volume for the disk to use. But if you don't want to use any of the multiple volumes, we have the opportunity of the static volume, which excels in performance and uses the whole storage pool. What I mean uses the whole storage pool is that imagine you have a warehouse where all the warehouse becomes this storage. For example, that is the static volume. You put all the eggs in one basket. But that's not the case with the thick volume. In the thick volume, if the storage pool is the warehouse, you have the opportunity to create the rooms. While in thin volume, you will have the rooms, but imagine it with moving walls. That's maximum flexibility. What I mean by that is that when we have the storage pool here, in this case that we have the thin volume, and we can see also the static volume, the thick volume and the thin volume in different storage pools. So we have the opportunity to understand them one by one. The static volume is using the whole capacity, while the thick volume has been divided in two different storage pools, and the thin volume is in two different storage pools here, by storage pool 2, which they belong to thick volume, and storage pool 1 to thin volume. So what I mean by that is that in the storage pool, for example, how we use and utilize the capacity of the first one, which is the thick volume, we can see that by the numbers that how the disk space has been allocated, by seeing that we have, for example, 625 GB and 198 terabytes for the system reservation, and all in total that we can see here 198 plus 625 and 900 from here from the free space, and 103 that is being allocated for the thick volume, and how it uses the total with 368 GB. But for the thin volume, we have the extra amount, which means that one disk, one storage pool has access to the space of the other one, meaning that it can exceed the actual capacity, which in case I don't use some of the space, if I was one of the rooms in this warehouse with the moving walls, I can move some of the walls and take some of the space for myself if the other volume is not used, if the other space is not using it. So it gives you the opportunity to go have the flexibility of using the whole space up to, in this case, 2000% increase, for example. So you can see the numbers here from 3393 as it comes from here, 29080, 1785. It gives you the total of 38695 GB, which has higher flexibility. So which disk volume to choose? That all depends on you, and I will provide you with some answers and some insights on which volume to choose. For example, on the read and write performance, based on that, we have to see which one performs the best. So on that sense, it makes the static single volume, which has the highest IOPS performance, followed by the thick single volume, and the last one is the thin volume. The thick single volume is in between of these two, but based on performance, static single volume excels still. But if you are looking for flexibility and you want to use the capacity more flexible and be able to increase on demand, then there is in flexibility excels the thin single volume because it has the increase on demand capacity. Also, it is followed by the thick single volume, which does the 50-50% and has the better allocation and management system in disk space utilization. And the last one would be the static single volume because it takes the whole space on the storage volume. Therefore, I thank you for being with us here and to see the disk volumes on static volume, thick volume, and thin volume on the NAS Talk Show with us. Thank you, and I'll see you next time. Bye.